Chinese smartphone market is full of affordable flagships that both have great specs and performance. However, how do they stack up against each other? This is Linus, you're watching TechLine HD, and this is the comparison of the OnePlus 2, Letv 11 Pro, ZTE Axon Elite, and Meizu MX5. Stay tuned. Alright, so let's take a look at the design first. These Chinese flagships are not the smallest out there, as all of them sport 5.5 inches displays. Still, Letv 11 Pro is the most compact one, followed by the Meizu MX5. As far as the choice of materials, they are all metal made except for the OnePlus 2, as it uses a combo of metal chassis and Samsung back cover, which can be replaced to a variety of different ones. To be honest, only the Letv 11 Pro is truly all-metal device, as both the ZTE Axon and Meizu MX5 have plastic top and bottom parts for antennas. As far as the build quality, they are all top-notch. However, Meizu MX5 has a bit rattling buttons, but they are far from the deal-breaker. As far as selfie cameras go, OnePlus 2 and Meizu MX5 have 5MP shooters, Letv 11 Pro sports a 4MP ultra-pixel snapper, and ZTE Axon leads the way with 8MP in terms of megapixel count. As far as notification LEDs, OnePlus 2 is a clear winner here, as it has a highly customizable one. All devices have fingerprint scanners except for the Letv 11 Pro. If you ask me, I would say that the ZTE Axon has the fastest and the most accurate implementation, despite being the only one with a scanner on the back. The second is MX5, and the third is OnePlus 2, as it clearly lags behind in terms of speed and accuracy. The button placement is very similar on all the phones except for the fact that Letv 11 Pro and the Axon phone have volume rockers on the right. The bottom part is where the majority of devices have the loudspeakers, but only the Axon phone has a front-firing grille. As far as connectivity goes, the OnePlus 2 and the Letv 11 Pro are more future-proof, as they both use USB Type-C ports, whereas other phones in this review have standard micro-USB ports. All in all, I have to say that all phones have a great design and build, but my personal preference is the Letv 11 Pro, as it is the most compact and it is the only truly all-metal phone out of the pack. When it comes to the display, the 11 Pro has an edge in terms of sheer specs, as it has a 2K panel. However, it is really hard to tell the winner, as it all comes to the personal preference. For example, if you like slightly warmer or colder colors, or if you prefer the AMOLED panel found on the Meizu MX5. Still, my personal preference goes to the ZTE Axon, as it has the most pleasing to the eyes display for me. When it comes to the UI, each phone has a different take on Android. OnePlus 2 runs on the Oxygen OS, which has preserved most of the looks of stock Android. Timely software updates assure that you will get a smooth experience overall. In short, you are getting a stock Android experience with quite a few customization options and some added useful features. When it comes to the 11 Pro, it runs on the Lei UI, which is built on Android 5.0. The Chinese ROM works very fast and there is no lag whatsoever. It has a nice and flat design, some added features, and some design inspirations from Apple. However, you have to keep in mind that the Chinese ROM is mainly designed for the Chinese users, and the home button serves as a quick access toggle for Letv services. You have to keep in mind that many third-party resellers ship the Letv phones with the unofficial international ROM, which has Google Play services out of the box, multi-languages, and all the Chinese apps removed, and that's a good thing. However, I don't recommend this ROM, as it comes with lots of bloatware apps that you can't simply remove, significantly worse UI and battery and camera performance, and I suggest you going with the Chinese ROM, as you can easily live with the Chinese content on the phone and wait for the official release of the international ROM. I have the Chinese version of the ZTE Axon Elite for a review, and thus it has a Chinese ROM. In short, it runs fast and fluid, it has lots of customization options and no app drawer. Keep in mind that there are no Google services pre-installed on the Chinese version, but they can be easily sideloaded. The Meizu MX5 runs on the Flyme OS, which was recently updated to the 5.0 version. This is a Chinese version I have at the moment, but to be honest, it doesn't bother me at all. I've been a fan of Flyme OS for quite a while as it has tons of customization options, probably the best working gesture controls on any Android phone, and it is very fast and responsive UI overall. However, the newest version of the Flyme OS has some questionable changes. Well, I really appreciate the recent apps menu that is finally more conventional, but there are some odd decisions made by Meizu. For example, the gesture controls menu is transferred to accessibility menu. But most importantly, I am absolutely disappointed by the new camera interface. In the old version, everything was nice and straightforward. You could change the modes by simply swiping up and down very quickly. However, right now you need to go to a separate menu and it takes a lot more time. Overall, all the UIs of these phones are great to use. At the end of the day, it all comes to the personal preference. I love Lei UI, I like Flyme OS, but at the moment I'm in the mood of stock Android, so I'm choosing the Oxygen OS on the OnePlus 2. All the phones in this comparison have flagship grade specs except for the Meizu MX5. It is still quite a powerful package as it has a MediaTek Helio Accent chip, 3GB of RAM, and the base model has only 16GB of non-expandable internal storage. OnePlus 2, Letv 11 Pro, and ZTE Axon have Snapdragon 810 chips with slightly different clock speeds and different storage options. Keep in mind that only the Elite version of the Axon phone I have has the microSD card slot. When it comes to the graphically intensive tasks, the Snapdragon 810 powered devices will provide you with the best possible experience. As far as the Meizu MX5, it can still handle 3D games quite well, but the level of graphics is simply not quite there yet. When it comes to multimedia, consuming HD content is just a blast on all phones. As far as loudspeakers go, I would choose the Axon phone since it has a front-firing speaker which is loud and it has a lot of depth in its sound. I would give the OnePlus 2 the second place, the third and the fourth to the Letv 11 Pro and the Meizu MX5 respectively. When it comes to the music via earphones, the 11 Pro is simply the best and the Axon phone is the closest competitor as both of these phones have dedicated hi-fi audio chips. The OnePlus 2 and the Meizu MX5 are pretty much the same. You may check out the camera interface of each phone in the dedicated reviews and make sure to check out the links in the description below. When it comes to the image quality, I tested these phones under exactly the same conditions and you may check out a dedicated in-depth camera comparison video as well. As usual, the daylight images are pretty much comparable and all phones are capable of producing really nice photos. However, OnePlus 2 manages to do the best job if we summarize the quality of lots of images. It tends to capture a very good amount of details, colors look nice, although they tend to be on the warmer side, and also contrast and dynamic range are usually handled okay but not all the time. Other competitors are very close to each other, but I'm choosing either the Letv 11 Pro or the Meizu MX5 for the second and third places and the Axon phone for the fourth. As far as night shots, OnePlus 2 leads the way as it tends to capture more details and the images have less noise and it is simply the most consistent performer. The second place goes to the Letv 11 Pro, but sometimes you can take a better shot with either the Meizu MX5 or the ZTE Axon. Thus, it is really hard to rank these phones. That leads to the conclusion that they are pretty much comparable but the night shots will be a hit or miss. At the end of the day, the OnePlus 2 is your best bet when it comes to the overall image and video quality. When it comes to connectivity, I don't have major complaints regarding call quality, signal reception, Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. The only thing is that the GPS may be less accurate on the Meizu MX5, but the difference is not that significant. When it comes to the battery, the OnePlus 2 has a 3300 mAh unit, the Letv 11 Pro and ZTE Axon both have 3000 mAh, and finally, the Meizu MX5 comes with 3150 mAh battery. The actual battery life is pretty much comparable on all phones except for the Letv 11 Pro. Still, the maximum screen on time of almost 5 hours can be reached on the OnePlus 2, but it is only possible when doing non-demanding day-to-day tasks. The Meizu MX5 comes out second with the average of 4 or 4.5 hours of screen on time. The Axon phone comes third with around 4 hours or less, and finally, the Letv 11 Pro reaches around 3.5 or maximum 4 hours of screen on time if you reduce the brightness significantly. We have finally come to the conclusions, and you may ask, what's the best phone out of the pack? Well, it's not that easy to answer as all offerings are great bangs for the buck, but I will try to rank them according to my personal preferences. I really care about the camera, the battery life, and the fact that the phone has a great software designed for international users. Thus, I'm choosing the OnePlus 2. The second option would be the Letv L1 Pro, and that is mainly due to the all-metal design and fantastic build quality, good camera, and probably the best-in-class audio quality via earphones. Also, due to the recent price drops, the Letv L1 Pro is just an absolute steal. The third place goes to the ZTE Axon, as it is also a very well designed phone with mainly metal materials, although those fake leather stitchings may look more appealing for female users. Finally, I love the Meizu MX5 due to its nice metal design, but mostly due to a great software experience. However, the MediaTek Helio X10 processor is good, but it is not as powerful or future-proof as the Snapdragon 810 chip found in the latter three phones. At the end of the day, all phones are great choices if you're looking for an affordable Chinese flagship. You really need to ask yourself, what are your personal preferences? But if you ask me, the OnePlus 2 and the Letv L1 Pro are your safest bets. It was Linus, thanks for watching, and if you found this comparison review useful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel as a lot of cool stuff is coming very soon. Also, make sure you check out the dedicated reviews of each phone and in-depth camera comparison of all these phones. Thanks again, see you soon, cheers!